On a frigid, cold night in Lowell with the wind chill reaching below zero, the 17th ranked Maine Black Bears look to extend their 7-game win streak against the UMass Riverhawks to 8. On Star Wars night, can the Riverhawks flip the script and get the force on their side in the series finale this season? And with that, we welcome you inside the Tsongas Center. Casey Roll with Jim Connolly on hand. The third member of our crew, Natalie Norrie, joins us in a couple moments. Yesterday, Maine answered some questions, Jim. Being able to score goals in smaller quantities to pull away in a defensive showcase. What other questions were answered yesterday?
Well, I think one of the big ones was Albin Boya. He played really well. Didn't have to face a lot of grade A's, but they have needed consistency out of their goaltender. They won a game because they got good goaltending, and they won a low-scoring game. This is a really good offense, but they need to also be able to play on the defensive side of the puck.
Top 10 in the country in goals scored yesterday. It was early on for Maine to establish an early 1-0 lead. They didn't need much after one, playing stout defense.
Yeah, you know, this was Maine's kind of game, a structured, patient game. They controlled the puck, and these are two teams that strive on puck possession. So face-offs are a key part of the game. Maine dominated that on Friday, winning 65% of the draws. Lowell also had 6 power plays, 4 in the third period, and couldn't convert. And when you combine that with a calm 25-save shutout from Boya, Maine needed just their 2 even-strength goals, Brock James and Charlie Russell in the second. They take a 2-0 win, and they set the tone for a potential sweep of this season series.
Can the Black Bears end the first month of the second half with a sweep against the Riverhawks? Puck drop comes your way in a few moments from the Tsongas Center.
Welcome back inside the Tsongas Center. Natalie Norrie here with you. After last night's 2-0 win, both head coaches addressed the media. Neither are too satisfied with the game overall. Ben Barr saying, even though we found a way to win, there were a couple of things that he wants to address with his team coming into tonight, including discipline. He talked about the third period last night, saying the penalties over and over were pointless and, quote, an immature way to finish the game, where Norm Bazin is hoping that he and the Riverhawks find a way to rebound tonight. He said, you know, our first period and a half we were chasing. The third period might have been our best, but it's a matter of imposing our will tonight, having more puck possession time down low, be better net front, and Casey find a way to get the win here tonight.
A big question for UMass Lowell this season. Can they come back from shutouts? 6 shutouts this season. Tied for most in a single season in over 20 years. Longest goal drought in the Tsongas Center's history hosting UMass Lowell Riverhawk hockey. Can they come away with some offense and a split against the 17th ranked Black Bears?
Yeah, they need to establish a forecheck earlier tonight. That was what Norm Bazin said. He liked their third period, but by the third period, it's way too late. It was a period and a half of really not playing UMass Lowell hockey that had Norm Bazin a little dissatisfied with that effort last night. So we'll see what their start is like off the hop.
Not much changes for Maine after a 2-0 win yesterday. UMass Lowell starts the game with their 4th line out there, centered by Jack Collins. Maybe giving a message to the Riverhawks to close out this series. First shot, Brandon Holt of his night, the captain, one of Hockey East's top active goal scorers for the defenseman. Left side, Pichette's shot, gloved by Samuel Richard. First start of his season against Maine in his first year playing collegiate hockey.
Lowell has not shied away from going with both goaltenders, Austin Elliott, Samuel Richard. Both Norm Bazin said have impressed him. Competing hard in practice. It's been a good battle for the starting crease throughout this entire season.
Part of this new generation of college hockey, the implementation of Canadian Hockey League alums. Samuel Richard, 5 seasons between the QMJHL and U Sports, which is Canadian collegiate hockey. First year of playing NCAA hockey in the States. Saw those numbers with face-off, Jim. A big part of the game. Maine, one of the top face-off winning clubs, not only in Hockey East, but in the country. They win one here.
That's a big part of their game. They want to possess the puck, as does Lowell, and both of these coaches talk about face-offs a lot. You know that Norm Bazin wants a better effort out of his centers tonight.
At the point, left side, Jurasevich shot turned away, loose in the crease. Richard sweeps it to the corner.
Lost his goal stick here, Richard.
Shot right side, Jeremy Langlois First opportunity of his night knocked away. Another QMJHL alum in Canadian hockey. Minute into this first frame here inside the Tsongas Center. So glad you're with us, wherever you're tuning in. Charlie Russell, one of the 2 Maine goal scorers last night, blanketed by a double. Arced out to center ice. Diego Badazzoni, the first-year Riverhawk, angling at the point, swings it in behind Albin Boya. The All-American a year ago pitched a shutout yesterday against these Riverhawks. Right side Delaney to the slot. Wrist shot, Ahern covered. First save of the night for Albin Boya in his junior season with Maine.
Ahern was probably the one Riverhawk last night that looked like he was engaged from the start in the game. I believe he had 7 or 8 shots attempted on net, 5 on goal. He hit 2 posts in the game. He was really in the offense. It felt like he was going to score, but it was a night that no Riverhawk was going to find the back as Albin Boya was on his game.
One of the top contributors for Norm Basin's Riverhawks this season. One of 3 UML skaters involved in potential Hobie Baker Award discussions this year. Off the draw, Luke Shipley's shot wiped out. Deflected by Owen Fowler, a former Riverhawk enjoying a career renaissance in his 2 seasons with the Black Bears. Shipley angling behind the net, breaches the 2-1-2 forecheck out to center. Knocked down by a diving Loic Uzero. And the Riverhawks recounter at center ice. Dylan Bentley, he was a game-time decision before puck drop today on that top line for UML this evening in the series finale.
He's a big part of that top line too, and that's a body that I'm sure Norm Basin is happy to have in his lineup today.
Chris Delaney lost the puck, arced out to center by Brock James, and that's down for an icing. James' first career goal came last night, a game winner in the first frame against UML.
I heard in the post game, I didn't hear the exact stat, but I believe it's been a decade for Maine since a player from the state of Maine scored a goal for the Black Bears, and last night Brock James was able to accomplish that from Yarmouth, Maine.
Pedigree of winning, Brock James, Sioux Falls Stampede captain last year in the USHL, a Robertson Cup champion in the NAHL a few years back.
I don't want to upset the good people of Falmouth, Maine. It was Falmouth, Maine, not Yarmouth, Maine that he is from.
There are Falmouth, Maines, and Massachusetts as well, so you got the state right.
Yeah, once you get the mouths, whatever it is, I feel like I'm on the Cape anyways.
TJ Schweigert, amidst a career year as a senior, flips it in behind Boya, playing Traffic Cup. Has not lost in his career against UML, the only Hockey East school that Boya is undefeated against. Can he keep that alive tonight? Wrist shot, Libor Nemec, knuckling wide through the slot. UML's 1-2-2 forecheck, keeping play alive only for a moment. Brandon Chabrier ushers the puck in behind the goal, and Maine breaks out. Along the left side, Oscar Komarov drops it off. Left side, Peluso shot knocked away off the stick of Dominic Payne. Transfer from Canisius College in his first year with the Riverhawks. In behind the goal, Komarov battling for positioning with Josh Morey. Morey wins out and skies it through neutral ice. Just about 3.5 minutes in here at the Tsongas Center. 3 combined shots between the 2 clubs. Diego Badazzoni, Sean Gilcullen surveying the blue line. Diego, one of 2 Badazzonis on this UML roster. Left side, Gilcullen flips it wide through Amaze's skates. Tracked down by Jack Varwerk. Career year last year. He's got 2 goals in his last 4 entering play. Lee Parks swivels away from traffic. Parks centering back door underneath Badazzoni's stick. It was also partially deflected by Will Giroir.
Good move there by Parks. Left the defender in dust, just making a quick shift.
Varwerk off the feed from Badazzoni, blanketed by a double. Left side centering bid from Morey is knocked away. And Maine able to clear the zone after some sustained pressure by UML, something that Norm Basin probably likes to see early on in this first frame.
Yeah, they did not have a lot of riding time. It was mostly one and dones last night, getting in the zone and then get your opportunity right out. Maine was doing a really good job protecting the front of the net and getting pucks out.
Russell lets it fly, and off the top of the glass, Had a goal yesterday, was a couple inches away from making it a 2-goal weekend.
It's another example of how suddenly a play creates out of nowhere for this Black Bears offense.
Russell working on Bentley, flips into the high slot. Peterson's shot knocked down. Outlet pass ahead of Bentley and down for an icing. That could have been dangerous for Maine to start this first frame.
It's a good interception of a pass. The thought to go straight up the ice did not work. That was a real good shot by Russell, and thought that one was actually over the net, but you see Richard, he actually makes a right shoulder save on that one. Big save there early.
Numbers have been excellent for Richard in limited play this year. Save percentage over .910. Record not reflective of what his value has been in year one in the TC. Off a giveaway, Maine scores! Sully Sholey! His 5th of the year gives Maine an early 1-0 lead.
This one right off the face-off. Sholey found himself wide open in the slot. Fowler gets in there, wins that loose puck, and it goes right over to Sholey. Sholey takes the draw himself. Lowell actually wins this draw, but it's the inability to move that puck. It hits the stanchion. It's not a stanchion, it's a hook kind of that holds the glass in place. That hits that hook at the top of the glass, ends up bouncing out into the slot. Quick pass over from Fowler to Sholey, and a 1-0 lead for the Black Bears.
2 games this weekend. Both times Maine has scored first in the opening few minutes of the opening frame. Wrist shot Will Giroir glances off Richard's glove hand. Giroir keeping puck battle alive. That 1-2-2 forecheck. Right side, Pichette fanned it wide of the crease. Pichette tracking it down at the point. In behind the goal, Loic Uzero scaling up the half wall, bracketed by a double, and UML is able to excavate out of the zone. 6 minutes into the opening frame, an early 1-0 lead for the 17th ranked team in the country. These Maine Black Bears, winners of 7 straight against UMass Lowell in the all-time series. High off the wall, that's Miguel Marcus, first-year Black Bear by way of the Canadian Hockey League. Knuckling puck at the blue line. Marcus dancing away from traffic, not able to elude Nemec. Maine's forecheck keeping play alive. Langlois, left circle, wrist shot, rattles off a couple bodies. Langlois tracks it down below the goal line. Langlois angling wide below the right circle. Turning, centering, left side. Marcus fans of the shot. He had Richard out of position. Fowler turns and fires. Knocked down in the maze of traffic, and Richard covers amidst a bevy of humanity. Lots of mayhem in the first 6+ minutes of the first, but Maine's out to an early lead, just like last night inside the Tsongas Center. Back in a couple moments from Lowell.
Tsongas Center early 1-0 lead for the Maine Black Bears, but the Riverhawks are bringing old school back with their retro jerseys tonight. These are replicas of what the team wore back in the 90s, reintroduced them as a 3rd jersey this season. Now the first ever time Lowell wore these jerseys in program history, they won against BU, while the first time this current team wore them last Friday was an OT win versus BU. So you'd think the team likes them. Fans across the board would love to see these as their permanent road jerseys. They certainly look nice here in the arena tonight, Casey.
I know Jim Connolly likes those. Those brings him back to his school days as a student at UMass Lowell.
They do. Those were the jerseys that we wore my 4 years as a student here and working for this team afterwards. And it was great to see Norm Bazin scoring a goal against UNH at the old Boston Garden back in 1994.
Those vintage sweaters. A lot of those hit hard. Other times they may swing and miss, but a lot of those vintage unis are back in style.
Yeah, they really are. This is the old Rangers. This is the old New York Rangers jerseys from when they won the Cup back in the 90s.
Puck out of play. You know, the younger Gen Zs and what's the new generation, the Gen Alphas, are probably thinking, oh, wait, the Rangers won a Cup?
They also don't know that the Toronto Maple Leafs made a Stanley Cup.
Their grandparents probably weren't alive the last time the Maple Leafs were battling for Lord Stanley's Cup back in the 60s. Dylan Bentley drops down for the faceoff opposite Max Scott. A couple centers who are enjoying career seasons with their respective clubs. Scott leading these Black Bears in faceoff wins. Jay Ahern, speaking of enjoying a renaissance, former Niagara Purple Eagle in his first year with UMass Lowell. UML excavates out to center, knocked down by Yuzero, slips it ahead to Russell. Ambling into the zone, feeding the trailing Friel, centering into the slot, knocked down amidst the maze of skates. Here's Bentley, ushering the puck into the zone. Nice back check from behind by Justin Poirier. Didn't score yesterday, Maine's leading scorer. Play a stop for a hand pass in the defending end. Jim, you were very complimentary of Poirier's defensive game, albeit that might not be the aspect of his game that garners the most attention in the league.
Yeah, you know, you think about him as a goal scorer, and you talk to Ben Barr. Ben Barr will really highlight that he's a natural finisher. But last night, the number of times that he stood out to me on the back check, really, you know, eliminating what could have been potential odd man rushes for the Riverhawks. His defensive skills just as strong as his offense.
Max Scott behind the goal. Former Brown Bear zips it off the high glass. It trickles out to the neutral zone where Libor Nemec inhales the loose puck. The second-year Riverhawk flips it out to the blue line where it's knocked away and taken by Frank Jurasevich. Second stint with the Hockey East club. Transferred from Merrimack in the offseason. Zips it ahead. Nick Peluso into the zone. Driving by Morey. Below the goal line. Applies the brakes. Backhands it up the wall to Jurasevich. Pinching it from the point. Swept out of the zone by Cole Lonsdale to the checkered red line. Lonsdale in behind the goal. Langlois there to retrieve the puck. And Maine clears out to neutral ice. Just over 11 minutes to play in the first. High slot. Brock James has his shot knocked away, tumbling in behind Richard. Dallin Wakely, first-year Riverhawk, zips it down the length of the ice ahead of Ahern as Maine touches up.
Good attempt to stretch the ice out there, but I believe it was Jurasevich with the stick, just gets in the way. Oh, that stick just explodes on Jurasevich.
He fans. Delaney feeds Bentley, who's kicked away by Boya. And now it's Maine on the counter. Miguel Marcus, right side, wrist shots, flexed away by Richard in the butterfly. Couple high-octane chances on both ends of the ice. Both goalies standing tall in this opening period. Owen Fowler, the former Riverhawk, crunched into the boards by his former UML teammate Sean Gilcullen. Chris Delaney motors into the zone, deals it to the left of Boya to the near boards. Peterson. Lucas Peterson into the Maine bench. Brings a stoppage of play with just over 10 minutes to go in this first period of action.
A little bit bumping after the whistle. We didn't see anything last night in terms of extracurricular. These two teams, in terms of the post whistle, tend to be very disciplined. It's usually Maine surprisingly took a ton of penalties last night, and it was a point of frustration for Ben Barr. He talked to Natalie about it afterwards. He talked in his post game about it. Just called it immature. They've got to close out games without having a march to the penalty box.
And that's something, too, you hear from a lot of collegiate coaches leading nationally ranked programs with a certain aspect of discipline. Denver's David Carl has that same aspect about him. Denver could win by a ton and have penalties, but speaking of penalties, Maine penalizes UML on the back end. That's Thomas Pichette making his 5th goal of the year known to the UML crowd.
Pichette had a step on the Lowell defense here. Just able to find a little bit of extra room. Think that might have hopped off the stick of Dominic Payne, who was trying to get in the way of that shot, but that little space that Pichette had between him and Payne was just enough to get that shot off. Rifles up over the blocker of Richard, and a 2-0 lead here for the Black Bears.
Pichette's caught on hot recently in the start of the second half. 4 goals in his last 7 with that marker. Maine matching its goal output yesterday from its shutout victory of these Riverhawks. Schweigert into the defensive end. Navigates through a bevy of traffic out to neutral ice. 4 different goal scorers for Maine this weekend. One of the assists from this weekend, Uzero, wires it in behind Richard. UML first to it. Dylan Wakely. Blind pass, and Maine unable to keep the zone. Nemec angling into the neutral zone, into the attacking end. Wakely at the circle, lost the puck. Maine out to center ice. 9 minutes to play in the first, an early 2-0 lead for the 17th ranked Black Bears. Shots are 7-1 Maine to this point.
Sometimes when your offense just isn't clicking, it's a struggle. Every time you possess the puck, you're thinking about how do I get up ice? And anytime something goes wrong, it starts to compile and compound, and that's what seems to be happening to the Riverhawks. They can't get out of their way right now. They're struggling just to create any sort of offense, and Maine taking advantage here early.
And one thing that Norm Bazin talked to us about simplifying did lead to talks about the power play, but when you look at simplifying the rushes, especially on the forecheck and then in the attacking end, what have you noticed that's not super simple by UML's approach?
They're not supporting the puck. You know, if you watch them coming out of the zone, sometimes you have just too large of a gap between the defense and the forwards or whatever it might be. You've got to be able to make those short 3-4 foot passes coming up the ice. That's especially against a team like Maine that plays a good neutral zone. It's been very difficult for the Riverhawks to get through the Maine neutral zone over the last game and almost game and a period here.
Langlois angled off the far side, intended for Marcus, paddled away by Richard. Marcus first to it. Won the puck battle below the goal line against Payne. Right side through a bevy of traffic. Marcus's shot knocked away, and it's chopped out to center ice by Ahern. Maine on the regroup. Brandon Holtz, the captain, activating from the blue line. Chopped down by Budazzoni. Diego Budazzoni feeds Bentley, possible 3-on-2. Bentley deals behind the net. Lee Parks and Budazzoni playing a 2-man game. Morey wired behind the goal, inhaled by Lucas Peterson. Freshman defenseman from New Jersey, not too far from here. Parks leading that 1-2-2 forecheck. In behind the goal, Varwerk deals. Diego Budazzoni angled up the wall. Morey, wrist shot knocked down by Fowler. The former Riverhawks unable to clear. Maine does get a clearance by Sholey. First goal scorer of the night for Maine as the Black Bears get a line change. Inside 7 to play in the first. 2-0 Maine. Game 2 of this weekend. Third game of the season series. They're looking for a season sweep of UML. Oscar Komarov, stretch pass knocked down by Miskey. Sustained pressure by UML, only up to the blue line where Varwerk cranks it to the right of Boya.
Riverhawks have had the Black Bears hemmed in there a little bit.
Jabrier wheeling behind the goal leads the oncoming Black Bears. Pichette, the most recent goal scorer, crushed into the boards. Wakely wired in behind Boya. A blown tire from Uzero. Maine nonetheless clears the zone. Friel, high wrist shot, near turnover. Richard in between the dots, covering up the puck. A near giveaway from Samuel Richard almost made it 3-0 Maine. It's all Black Bears in this first period of play. First goal was from one of the young guns in the league, and in the second, Thomas Pichette doubled up the Maine lead to give him a 2-0 edge with 6 minutes to play in the first. Back in a moment from the Saga Center. Thomas Pachette's 5th goal of his season has given Maine an early 2-0 lead in the early stage of this one here inside the Tsongas Center. Casey Roll, Jim Connolly, and the 3rd member of our crew, Natalie Norrie, on hand from Lowell. So glad you're with us. Hopefully you're staying warm. Wind chill below 0. Maine is heating up in this first frame, especially their chances. They're getting a lot of heat in their chances in this first period.
This was before the break, just coming in. Real strange puck, just mishandled by Richard. And then it, as you're trying to pull it in, that's such a tense moment as a goaltender. You just want to get your glove on it. You saw him try 3 times to cover that up, and you know that you have a Maine player attacking right next to you. You just want to get it covered up. That was not an easy situation there for Richard.
And that is something that Norm Bazin talked about too, the difference of his goalies this week. And he said Austin Elliott, yesterday's starter, a bit more of a higher upside coming from his background as a CHL Memorial Cup champion with London. He did say that Richard, a bit more of a battler in the crease, less predictable. I guess that's a little less predictable if you want to chalk that up.
Yeah, when you watch Elliott, you know that he is one of those fundamentally sound. He does everything according to the book. Richard, I'm not going to call him Dominic Hasek and go back to the 90s, but he definitely is a little bit, unconventional.
Those Gen Alphas we talked about a bit earlier are probably wondering who. If they're caught up on their history, they know who it is.
I make a few of those references every now and again.
Dominic Payne zips it up ice. Brandon Holt first to it. The senior captain flips it out to center where it's knocked down and scooped up by Will Giroux. Coughs it up, and UML on the counter. Jack Collins, backhander from the goal line. Flexed away by Boye and the butterfly. Maine breaking out. Giroux down the wing. Josh Morey there to filter the puck up the half wall. Morey in behind the goal, the former Portland Winterhawk of the Western Hockey League. One of the proud Canadian Hockey League franchises among the 3 CHL programs, or at least leagues. Scholey deals it out wide. Russell breaking into the zone, applies the brakes. Scholey deals high on the left side. Yuzero wired behind the goal. A takedown and a penalty. It is on UML. Boye to the bench for an extra skater. It's touched up. And for the first time, Maine to the power play with under 4 minutes to play in the first. They're up 2. Can they triple their lead in the final 4 minutes of play? We'll have a look at the penalty in a couple moments when we return from the Tsongas Center on a cold night in Lowell.
Lowell, number 12, 2-minute minor tripping.
Maine had one power play opportunity last night. They've got their first opportunity today on this tripping call from Luke Shipley.
Last night was a major opportunity, 5-minute major to start the 3rd period. Did not amount to much of anything. Lowell did a nice job with the penalty kill, but now they're really in a position where the penalty kill has to come up big. Going behind 3 goals here in the first period to a really good Maine team is not the formula for success. So this penalty kill has a lot of pressure on it here with 3:59 to play.
A high-powered Maine power play. 6th in Hockey East, operating at just under 20% against UML's penalty kill. 6th in Hockey East at just over 82%. Sully Scholey, the first goal scorer of the night, drops down for the faceoff, splits both defensemen, Miguel Marcus and Brandon Holtz. Justin Poirier, got to watch 93 in whites, team leader in goals and on the power play this year. Poirier, the Canadian Hockey League transplant. Up top to Holtz, surveying that 4-man diamond formation. Below the goal line to the bumper, Marcus lost the puck. Turning shot, Friel, save made by Richard, no rebound. First save of Richard's night with the Riverhawks short-handed.
And you see Friel there, he takes that puck toward the net and just shoots. That was something that the Maine power play did not do last night during its 5-minute major to start the 3rd. So I think that just getting some looks, it's not the wide open look. There was no rebound. He didn't have traffic. So it's not everything that you're looking for in a power play, but that was a good start for a power play.
Dominic Ravelli Opposite Sholey off the tie-up. It's Ravelli motoring up the wall, but unable to clear. Poirier put in the bracket, and it's backhanded out to center by Gilcullen. Neither side successful on the power play yesterday. Maine, back in Portland in December, scored the season-best 3 power play goals against the Riverhawks. Thomas Friel below the goal line, playing his off wing as a left winger atop the right circle. Backhanded up the wall, Marcus pinching in, wrist shot, knuckling wide, almost deflected in by Poirier. That puck was high-sticked. And it goes down the length of the ice with under 51 seconds to play on the man advantage.
This will be a defensive zone turn face-off here for the Black Bears as that high stick brings the face-off all the way down here during the man advantage. And Lowell's penalty kill has done what they have to for this first minute, 10 seconds of the power play.
They have also shown an ability to be lethal short-handed.
Yes.
5 short-handed goals, 4th in the country. One of those penalty killers, David Adazinski, serving as one of the de facto PK wingers with Connor Eddy out this weekend. Off the high glass, Adazinski has his pockets picked. Fowler whips it left side. Jurasevich deals up top. Langlois wired right side to Fowler, playing the off wing. Had a game-winning goal against UML a month ago. Jurasevich surveys that 4-man diamond up top. One-timer from Langlois, knocked down by a diving Varwerk, and it trickles out to center. Inside 10 seconds on the Shipley penalty before back to even strength. Langlois wired to Fowler, wrist shot, knuckling wide through the slot. And we're back to 5-on-5 with Shipley out of the box. Maine 0 for 2 on the power play this weekend. In behind the goal, a tie-up for positioning. It's Fowler shielding the puck in the backhand, away from Ravelli. 3-a-side tie-up for positioning behind Richard. And it's tugged out of traffic by Max Scott. Whistle behind the play. And looks like a cross-check has been called with a couple shoves behind Richard.
I think it's going to be Russell for Maine with this cross-checking penalty.
Maine number 11, minor penalty for cross-checking.
And that is on Charlie Russell, the goal scorer yesterday.
Down below, he's in a little bit of a battle right there, and it's usually never the first hit, right? You see Morey gets the stick up a little bit there, but then it was Russell retaliating back at Morey that gets whistled. So the Lowell power play, which was 0 for 6 yesterday, a huge part of that 2-0 defeat for the Riverhawks, their inability, they need to get some good looks here, at least not lose momentum on their power play.
First opportunity on the man advantage for the Riverhawks, powered by Northern Bank. The Riverhawks have struggled, to say the least, on the power play so far in the second half of the season, clicking at just under 11% since the second half begun. Luke Shipley, who served a tripping penalty earlier in the period, deals it up the high glass. Dallin Wakely, the Edmonton Oilers draftee, bracketed by a double. Libor Nemec pressed into the boards by the captain Holtz. Shoveled up the wall. Diego Badazzoni grappling for puck positioning. And it's fed to Nemec, who misfires on a shot the circle. Pressure put on by Friel, one of the main co-captains, as it tumbles out to center ice. Inside 30 seconds to play in the first. Diego Badazzoni centers. Schweigert tips it off the pads of Boya.
That's a real good look. Schweigert getting in from the point there. Tries for the redirect, just knocks it a little bit wide.
Maine funnels it down the length of the ice. That was Jurasevich who got in on the puck. Inside 15 seconds to go in the first. Possibly one last rush for Maine. Friel rubs it down the ice. And with 5 seconds to go in the first, the 17th ranked team in the country flexing its muscles on the UML Riverhawks with a 2-0 lead through 20 minutes.
It's a good road period for the Black Bears there to come out with a 2-0 edge. They had an early advantage in shots, ended up by the end of the period a 13-3 edge. So it's a big deficit shot-wise for the Riverhawks, and I think that really does tell the story of the period. That was not a good period for the Riverhawks, and that was probably the period that Ben Barr wanted to see his team in response to his challenges from last night's game, some of the frustrations he had with the Black Bears after last night's game.
UML does have a power play carrying over to the second. Maine got the scoring started with Sully Sholey. He's getting ready to show you the looks on camera with Natalie Norrie.
2-goal lead for your team after one period. Sully, what allowed you to come out to this start?
We're just trying to play our game, you know, stick to getting pucks in deep and rotating over them on the forecheck.
Yeah, it seems like 5-on-5, your team's able to go north pretty efficiently. What do you like about the support you're seeing around the puck right now?
Yeah, I just like the support that we have. Like, you know, we're all connected in the O zone, D zone. That allows us to get more offense and then break out of the zone easier.
And kind of a broad question for you here, but what are the keys, the points of emphasis as you go forward in this game?
Probably just, you know, move your feet, finish your hits, and go to the net.
All right, good enough. Thank you very much.
Thank you.
Thanks, Natalie. 3 meetings this year between Maine and UMass Lowell. 3 times that the Black Bears have not trailed through 20 minutes in the series. Early 2-0 advantage for the 17th ranked team in the land. Back in a few moments here from the Tsongas Center on a cold night in Lowell. Bucks here at the Tsongas Center. 2-0 lead for Maine on UMass Lowell in the final game of this weekend set. Here from Massachusetts as we take a look at our first period stats between the Riverhawks and the Black Bears. Very one-sided through one period, to say the least, between the two clubs.
Yeah, face-off still in favor of the Black Bears. Last night it was 9-3 after one a little bit closer tonight, but still a 10-7 edge in the shots. We just look at 13-3. That's a big... It really does tell the story, I think, Casey, that this was a period that was dominated by the Black Bears. They really dictated the play, and the numbers really bear that out.
What have you seen on special teams so far? The UML does have a power play extending into the second, but what have you seen from special teams so far through one chance for each side?
Well, neither team really was able to attack, and I think that's credit to the penalty killers on both sides. Lowell probably has a little more concerned after the 0-for-6 night last night. Now you're getting another power play here at the end of the first and not really showing too much production. They've got to find ways to get it toward the net and attack the net. You know, we were talking off the air, too much of that period for Lowell was just played on the perimeter. They didn't really attack the net. It's hard to score goals when the puck's along the boards.
30 seconds with a fresh seed on a power play advantage. What's going to be the key to capitalize on that half a minute?
Don't lose the first face-off. That's a big part of it. Get that face-off, get it in, and take advantage of that ice sheet when it's fresh. You got to do something here out of the hop. But you also have a Maine team that'll be hungry. That was a real good period for Maine right there. They looked like they got to dictate the game the way they wanted.
2-0 lead for Maine on UMass Lowell through one period of play. Check out all of ESPN's coverage of college hockey in one place with the all-new ESPN app. Unlock it with the ESPN Unlimited plan or log in with your TV provider. ESPN, the proud home of Hockey East coverage of the 25-26 season. Can UMass Lowell get the force back on their side? There is definitely a shift in the force in Hockey East this year. It's all one-sided for Maine, making a push for the postseason. Can UML pull off a shocker and secure a split this weekend inside the Tsongas Center? Back in a few moments from Lowell.
Higgins to the net, shot blocker save, rebound, score. We got a 1-goal game. attempt over the line. Nice feed to the net. Fauchon scores! Jonathan Fauchon, and a great setup by Roger McQueen.
Miskey looking. Miskey circles the cage and scores. Nate Miskey, the freshman.
Period, it could have been more, but some timely saves from Samuel Richard have kept it at a 2-0 edge.
Yeah, some early in that game, and Maine ends up taking the lead on a Sully Sholey goal. That's one that's probably frustrates Norbays. And they won the draw, did Lowell, and then their clearing attempt hit the stanchion, bounced out, and next thing it's 1-0, 2-0 once Pichette scores, and then just kind of a nervous moment here for Richard. It just was a period that Lowell did not get their forecheck established at any point. Only 3 shots on net, nothing of the real threatening nature. So if Lowell has any hopes of coming back in this game, they have to get that forecheck established, and they have to get through the neutral zone with a little bit more success.
UMass Lowell, amidst a bit of a skid against ranked opponents this season, taking on another ranked opponent of these 17th ranked Black Bears. You take a look at the discrepancy between goals scored in wins against goals scored in losses. There's really no middle ground between the two.
No, that's crazy. You're talking about 3 less goals a game when you're losing to these nationally ranked teams as opposed to the 4 that they won. And listen, their wins against ranked teams were quality wins. You're talking about UConn, you're talking about Boston University, you're talking about Minnesota State. There's some real good opponents that they've beat this season, but you're talking about when they're struggling, it's their offense. It's always their offense and their inability to score goals.
And let's emphasize that bottom stat right there. Wins, power play percentage, and the losses. UML does have a 30-second carryover power play starting the second period. You did mention winning that faceoff is the first main aspect of capitalizing on this 30 seconds, but what do they also have to do that they weren't able to do yesterday in their 6 chances?
Well, they've got to be cleaner with the puck, and this isn't just to the power play. I think the passes between sticks have to be a little bit sharper and clean. That has been a struggle for Lowell, hanging on to pucks. And when you're a puck possession team, when you really preach that you have to have the puck on your stick, when you're not able to successfully complete passes, that's a basic fundamental that you need working. So that's what I'm going to be looking here early in this period, is how well Lowell is really able to just support the puck and complete their passes.
That second line for UML on the begin the second frame. Jack Varwerk digs down. Opposite the former Riverhawk in Owen Fowler. His second year with the Black Bears. Varwerk controls the draw. 8th faceoff win for the Riverhawks to this point in the night. Albin Boya, he's pitched a shutout. He's only faced 2 shots. One of them on goal. Behind the net, Jay Ahern, the former Niagara captain, shovels it up the wall. Backhanded out to center ice. A clearance from Fowler. Inside 10 seconds to go on UMass Lowell's first power play opportunity of the night. Charlie Russell up out of the box. We're back to even strength. Dylan Bentley zips it. Delaney one-timer. Glove save. Boya through a minor screen in front. There's the All-American making a stop.
That might be the most difficult stop that Boya's had to make this weekend. A lot of traffic at the front of the net. Exactly what you're trying to do if you're Lowell. Work the puck around, get it high, and get that shot with the bodies to the net. You have Varwerk and you had Ahern in front of the net there. That's what you need, and you have Bentley taking the shot. I mean, that's 3 of your biggest offensive contributors. That's what this Riverhawk team has to be focused on here in the second.
11th faceoff win for Maine. Nick Peluso in the attacking end, blanketed by TJ Schweigert in the midst of his senior season with the Riverhawks. Career renaissance in his final year of college hockey. Max Scott backpedals out to the blue line. Shovels it back in behind Richard. Against that 1-2-2 Maine forecheck, Cole Lonsdale hammers the puck to the red line. Into the zone, Dallin Wakely tracks it down. Two-man game with Lonsdale. Wakely centers underneath of Nemec. He was positioned in a high slot as it tumbles down the ice. UMass Lowell on the counter. Diego Bonazzoni closest to it. It's flipped out to center by Brock James. A turnover. Here's Komarov. Oscar Komarov has his shot wiped out. First chance of Komarov's night. Richard was up to the task. Frank Jurasevich, wrist shot knocked down by Diego Bonazzoni. His brother Mirko out of the lineup for a 6th straight game. Varwork pressed into the boards. Jurasevich ambles after the puck. Friel backhands out to center. Oscar Komarov wings it out wide to Pichette, the most recent Maine goal scorer, one of 2 in that first frame. Bonazzoni charges into the zone. Diego Bonazzoni holding, shooting. Boya makes the save to bring a stoppage of play. With a nice look in front of that save, Natalie Norrie is with us ringside. Natalie, what do you got?
Casey, thank you so much. Quick update from Lowell associate head coach Andy Bischetto before this period. He said overall, we have to just be on our toes more. Maine is breaking the pucks out more, making it hard to get zone time, and we need to put pucks behind their D and get on the forecheck, as we heard you and Jimmy so adamantly talking about before this. We also asked what needs to happen to get to the net more, Casey. He simply said, got to get hungry.
What's on the menu tonight? You have to wonder if UML really is that hungry. There are times, especially, this as a former college student, you're hungry, you go to the dorm hall, see something that's not super appetizing, so you just decline to partake. Let's see what's on the menu tonight.
Yeah, listen, if we need to put a T-bone steak in the net, we probably can for these Riverhawks.
As long as it's rare. I don't want anything well done with any cuts. Ahern snipes it high over the bar. Second shot of his night. Loose puck in front of Boya. Tracked down by Delaney, who jabs it into the crease behind the net. Funneled out to the neutral zone where Sully Sholey tracks it down. Stripped to the puck at the blue line. Delaney leads it ahead of Bentley. Boya drops down and plays traffic cop. 3 minutes into the second, early 2-0 lead for Maine. Looking for a regular season sweep of the Riverhawks. Won the first 2 this season. Delaney taken down, arm is up for a penalty, and for the second time, the Black Bears head to the penalty box on a tripping call.
Sholey will get this one.
Maine, number 14, 2-minute minor, tripping.
That's Sully Sholey, the game's first goal scorer.
To the neutral zone, gets his stick into the skates of Chris Delaney. Riverhawk power play looking to get going here. I felt like their attack time was getting better in the last minute and a half, even 2 minutes here, Casey. So let's see if this power play can keep that momentum going.
Riverhawks back to the Northern Bank power play. Between this week and last week against Boston University, the Riverhawks are 1 for 14 on the power play. Maine's penalty kill, ambushing the zone into the slot. Scott flips it up the wall. Chabrier deals left circle. Friel wrist shot kicked away by Richard. We touched on UMass Lowell's ability shorthanded to pocket goals. Maine as potent shorthanded. 5 shorthanded goals scored, 4th in the country. Nemec rifled wide through the slot, tracked down below the right circle by Luke Shipley. Filtered up the wall. Schweigert surveying the middle of the ice. Shipley pressed into the boards. Loic Uzero unable to funnel it out of the zone. And Komarov swings it down the length of the ice for a clearance.
Yeah, good pressure there along the walls by this Maine penalty kill. They read the play well, and as soon as they see the opportunity to attack, they get in there, win that loose puck, and get it down.
Inside a minute to play on the UMass Lowell power play opportunity. Chris Delaney, who drew that trip a moment ago, lost the puck. Black Bears on the counter, possible shorthanded chance. Owen Fowler, the UML transfer, blanketed by a double, and it's Delaney wheeling behind the net. Wings it out to Bentley, entering the zone. Ahern stripped to the puck from behind by Fowler. Nice back check by the 2-time Riverhawk, and Maine gets a clearance.
That's what has really impressed me is the way that the forwards get back and play the defensive side when they're killing penalties. They're really responsible about the back check.
Ahern scrambling for puck positioning with inside 10 seconds to go on the power play. Swung around the boards by Holt, the Maine captain, and for the second time, Maine is unscathed on the penalty kill. UMass Lowell now 0 for 8 on the weekend on the man up. David Adazinski stripped to the puck into the zone by Lucas Peterson. Swings it up the wall, a minor hit up along the UMass Lowell bench. James zips it left side into the zone. Friel, his shot knocked down, scoops it back up. Pinching in from the point, Yuzero surveying. Driving away from Collins. Loic Yuzero, backhander, knocked down amidst a bevy of traffic. Tumbling puck out to center ice. It vacated Scott and Yuzero, who were the closest to it. A turnover, Lonsdale tracking it down. A nice poke check from Boya. Albin Boya making a stop to prevent an easy goal, and it's skied out to center by Brandon Chabrier.
Really nervous moment there for the Black Bears, but they somehow escape as Lowell unable to get the shot on net when Boyer was caught out of the net.
Both keepers showcasing their abilities in between the dots today. Richard in that first period and Boya a couple moments ago.
Yeah, these coaches don't need those gray hairs they're giving them.
Nemec centers underneath Lonsdale's stick. Easily one of the better scoring chances UML has had this weekend.
That was it right there. Lonsdale just needs to have that stick on the ice. Gets right underneath. Perfect setup.
Shipley zips it out to Delaney. Barreling through center ice. Rifled in behind Boya, who cranks it up the wall. Shipley pinching in, lost the puck, a breakaway. Miguel Marcus all alone. Marcus score! Excellent move by Miguel Marcus, showcasing that NHL pedigree. The third-round draft pick makes it 3-0 Maine early in the second.
Miguel Marcus hanging around the neutral zone, and the puck finds him in absolutely perfect position. And then he walks in all alone on Boya, able to make that move. But this puck gets up ice, and watch it, it deflects there. But Marcus was actually coming onto the ice off a change, just trying to get into the zone. And then, oh, hey, the puck's there, right at his feet. He actually had to reach back to get the puck and bring it forward. But he is able to finish that nice move there, too, for that goal. 3-0 lead here, and penalty coming up here on Maine. Lowell back to the power play.
It is a tripping call with inside 13 minutes to play in the second. It's a 3-0 Maine lead.
Maine number 4, minor penalty for tripping.
Brandon Holt heads to the penalty box. Can the Riverhawks answer? Looking to get some life on the special teams. 3-0 Maine in the third game of this regular season series as they eye a season sweep of UML. Back in a few moments from the Saugus Center. Brandon Holt doesn't commit penalties often. His third of the season sends UMass Lowell to its third power play of the night.
Yeah, he had blown a tire there, Holt, and then he sticks out his stick, catches Varwork, so the Lowell power play will get another chance here. 0 for 8 thus far on the weekend, trying to get something going here.
Norm Bazin emphasized simpling things on the power play against Maine this weekend. Special teams showcased that they could play special in Portland a month ago, and these two teams played a one game in Portland, Maine. Can they have a special breakthrough in this regular season finale? The UMass Lowell power play is brought to you by Northern Bank. Their third crack at the Maine penalty kill starts with a face-off win and a clearance by Thomas Friel. Jack Varwork, 2 goals in his last 4 games entering play. He's got 3 on the power play entering tonight. Stripped to the puck at the circle.
And that's my point about you need to be able to connect on passes. That's a simple pass there, probably 15 feet from the blue line center to the right wing, and by that bobble, it goes down the ice, and now Lowell has killed basically 35 seconds of this penalty. They've done Maine the favor and done the killing themselves.
Varwork meandering through center along the right wing. Jay Ahern, the UML captain, swings it in behind the net. A two-a-side battle for positioning. Delaney's got it below the goal line. Scrambling up the half wall, surveying the four-man diamond. Wired to the goal line. Varwork and Delaney play a two-man game. Jack Varwork shielding on the backhand, driving on goal, zips it up high. Ahern chopping for the puck, knocked it down. Schweigert, left circle, wrist shot through a screen. Chipped by Ahern, but not toward the goal. Delaney funneled up top. Schweigert wired to the left circle. Varwork circle-to-circle passing. Delaney stretching the ice, playing the off wing. Delaney at the dot, surveys, walking in, wrist shot, close angle, chested down by Boya, who is able to garner the Black Bears with a clearance.
Good puck possession time there for Lowell, but still they need a little bit more attack mentality.
20 seconds left on UMass Lowell's third power play chance. Libor Nemec funneled in behind the goal. Diego Battazzoni tracks it down. It's high off the top of the mesh. Play stops with 8 seconds to go on the Holt penalty and on the UMass Lowell power play.
Lowell has looked better. This is probably the best power play we've seen. One of the better looking ones we've seen this weekend. Probably going back to the second period of Friday night's game. But this one, they've moved the puck a little bit better. Maine will sit back when you have the puck on the perimeter. It's when you start to bobble the puck that they'll attack. So they're sitting back and allowing Lowell to move on the outside. That's when the Riverhawks have to find the opportunity to attack the net.
Langlois off the face-off win, zips it along the boards. Battazzoni backhands to Nemec. We're back to 5-on-5. Libor Nemec walks in, skies it over the top of the bar, tracked down by Schweigert. Dylan Wakely flips it into the slot, knocked down by Holt. Just off the bench and the penalty box. Behind the goal, Wakely, backhand centering feed. Battazzoni shovels it on goal, knocked away. Nemec chance and a save by Boya. Albin Boya with a goals against of under 1 in his career against UML denies them of what could have been their first goal of the weekend. How about the All-American showcasing the All-American laurels tonight?
Yeah, this is as strong as Boya has had to be really at any point this weekend. Those 3 saves back to back to back right there, and Nemec gets the best look at the end, unable to elevate that one as you had a defender there for Maine. That was Langlois, who's in really good position, just able to get his stick onto Nemec's.
David Adazinski off the short side miss from Sean Gilcullen. Gilcullen posting up at the blue line. Funneled in behind the goal. Ravelli tracking it down, leading the 1-1-3 UML forecheck. Ravelli, right side, wrist shot, sliced wide through traffic. Still looking for his first goal in collegiate hockey. A sophomore from Illinois. Adazinski pressed into the boards by Peterson. Tumbling puck corralled by Gilcullen at the left point. Backhanded to Adazinski behind the net. A WHL transplant from Calgary. Up the wall, Gilcullen, wrist shot, stick save Boya into the high glass. Stopping play with under 10 minutes to go in the second. 3-0 edge for Maine, the road side, with all the momentum in this series finale here at the Tsongas Center.
Welcome back inside the Tsongas Center. 3-0 lead for the Black Bears here in the second period. And it's the time of the year where we start to highlight and talk about some of the best in men's college hockey with the Hobie Baker nomination list. 4 nominees here tonight. 3 from the Riverhawks side. 3 seniors, TJ Schweigert, Jay Ahern, as well as Dylan Bentley, Norm Bazin. Said all 3 very deserving of this nomination. They're a massive part of this program. They produce and would do anything for their team. And on the other side, Maine's freshman sniper, Justin Poirier. Ben Barr saying it was a big jump from him coming from the QMJHL, but he's so coachable. Not many can shoot a puck like he does. So it's great to see those 4 in the conversation, Casey. Certainly an exciting time of year.
That time we're the best in all of college hockey, Natalie, being recognized. Hockey East has a good amount of prospects this year. I know the Big Ten has a 17-year-old in State College, Pennsylvania, who's captured a lot of national headlines, in Gavin McKenna, the presumed #1 pick in the upcoming drafts. Chris Delaney score! On Star Wars night, could the force be shifted to UMass Lowell? First goal of the Riverhawks weekend, owned by Delaney, his 3rd of the season.
The excitement in Delaney says it all. This is a team that just knew they had to find a goal at some point. Delaney, great job there, picking up the loose puck on the doorstep, roofing it over the blocker side there on Boya. And let's see if this can awaken this UMass Lowell offense, because I'll tell you, just the energy that Delaney had after scoring that goal, that certainly shows the emotion that this team is probably feeling with the pressure to score goals.
Was a standout last year as a true freshman with 9 goals. A bit of a slower start to his sophomore season with 3 with that last goal. Puck is knocked down, a hand pass called. So a face-off out to the spot at the Maine defensive end.
You know, we were talking about Hobie Baker, and you had started to bring it up, Gavin McKenna, and that's one thing when we look at Justin Poirier. He's going to be in the conversation right now for the Tim Taylor Award, National Rookie of the Year. But you have guys like Martone at Michigan State, and as you mentioned, Gavin McKenna, even McQueen down at Providence will probably be in that conversation as well.
Lots of high-end Canadian Hockey League transplants in college hockey this year. Centering bid from Parks in between both UML defensemen, with Nate Miskey and TJ Schweigert.
That ends a 208-minute, a record-setting 208-minute stretch.
Off a giveaway, Buttazzoni couldn't capitalize on the opportunity. Boya covers.
Yes. Long stretch here without a goal at the Tsongas Center. As you said, it's the longest since this building was opened in 1998. That's a very good streak to break right there for the Riverhawks.
They've been playing hockey in this building for quite a while, longer than anybody on the ice has been inhabiting the earth. Definitely a little bit before my time as well when this building opened up. Face-off win for UML. Maury snipes it into Boya's glove to stop play.
That one goal might just give a little bit of a spark to this Lowell offense. They're getting some draws here, offensive zone draws. They're winning the face-offs now. That battle has come back. It's 15-14 in favor of Maine right now, so Lowell has had a good face-off period.
Off the draw, turning shot, Wakely. Knocked down off the glove of Boya. Tumbling down the length of the ice. No icing, it's washed out. Libor Nemec inhales the loose puck, zips it up ice ahead of Wakely's right-handed stick blade. Cole Lonsdale pinching in from the point, winning possession only for a moment before Owen Fowler displaces him on the puck. Nemec pinches in from the point, shoveled off Maury's hands. UML unable to keep the zone. Marcus, right circle, centering pass. Fowler shot kicked away by Richard.
Great diving stop there by Sam Richard.
Denying the former Riverhawk of what could have been his 2nd goal of the season against his former club. Marcus, wrist shot through traffic, inhaled by Richard, stopping play. With inside 8 to play in this 2nd period.
Big opportunity here for the Black Bears coming up ice with the odd man attempt, and what a save there. Uses the paddle of his stick, Samuel Richard here. Actually, I take that back. It was the defender made a great play on it. Fowler was not able to get that shot off. From our angle up here, Casey, I thought Fowler got that shot, and it was a save, but it's a great defensive play there by the Riverhawks. Josh Maury.
First-year defenseman for UMass Lowell by way of the Portland Winterhawks.
Norm Basin says a lot of great things about Maury. He likes him a lot.
Chris Delaney off the giveaway. The UML goal scorer this weekend. Lost the puck after entering the blue line. Shoveled down by Chabrier. That is an icing with inside 7.5 to play in the second period.
You feel the ice tilting a little bit here. You know, it's not resulting in tons of grade A's, but you just feel there's a little bit of a shift. Even the building's a little more awake now. The crowd into this game. It's what the Songus faithful has waited for here for a couple of weekends. Reason to cheer.
5 straight Hockey East losses inside the Songus Center for the Riverhawks, aiming to end that against the top 20 ranked foe. They do have a hill to climb. Kilcullen scores! This place has come to life. From down 3, UMass Lowell cuts the deficit to 1.
Another face-off goal, and we talked about it. Lowell has had a good period at the dot. Straight out win here. Dylan Bentley wins it clean off to Sean Kilcullen, and he knew what he was doing right away. Snaps that shot off high over the glove side of Boya. And we're at a 1-goal game here. We suddenly have a hockey game, and this building is alive for the first time this weekend.
3rd goal of Kilcullen's season. UML springing to life inside the TC on one of the coldest nights of the year. Frank Jurasevich wheeling behind the net. Thomas Pichette zips it in behind Richard, with the Black Bears scrambling for some goal support, for some insurance in the second period. Arced out to center ice by Schweigert. Tumbling puck. Lee Parks tracking it down. Friel drills it in behind Richard as he takes a hit himself. 50-50 puck battle at neutral. Diego Badazzoni inhaling the puck below the goal line. Badazzoni shielding the puck away from Jurasevich as he's pressed into the boards. Jack Varwerk behind the net. Varwerk and Langlois battling for positioning. 2-a-side battle far side. Oscar Komarov turns it over. Parks at the dot, feeds the oncoming trailer. Score! Dominic Payne! Maine gets the first 3. UMass Lowell answers with 3 of its own. It's a brand new game inside the Songus Center.
What an explosion for the Riverhawks. As this one, another goal coming from distance. This puck trickles back to Payne, and then he's ready to unleash it, and Boya did not get set. Unable to set himself, and he misses this puck as it comes. Maine is called timeout. Ben Barr needs to regroup his team here.
Jim, I was going to ask you, in between that second goal and that third goal being scored, were you a bit surprised that Ben Barr didn't use his timeout with Maine only up 1 goal? Now there's no question about when he needs to call timeout.
Yeah, now it's a must. I wasn't thinking about it a lot after the second goal. The next shift, though, when you think about how good of a bounce-back shift Lowell had after scoring 2, now they've tied the game. Now it feels like you're almost in a situation you feel like you're trailing if you're Maine right now, and that's what Maine and Ben Barr has to give his team for a message. Listen, guys, we're still in a hockey game. We haven't lost this game. I know this feels not great, but we've got to get back to playing our game.
What do you think Maine has deviated from that first period when they put up that 3 spot?
Well, I'm not sure that they've deviated as much as I think Lowell has just finally turned it on. And they're winning face-offs. They're getting to loose pucks. They're winning some of the battles right now, and that was not going on really for much of the first part of this game and part of the game last night as well.
3 goals in just over 3 minutes. A goal per minute will do you pretty fine in college hockey and amongst all levels of hockey.
Interesting to see how the Black Bears respond now after the timeout by Ben Barr.
Maine sticks with Alvin Boya, the second-team All-American in goal after surrendering 3 straight. Black Bears are batting .500 when Sean Kilcullen has a goal. It's a pretty good batting average if you're a baseball fan. Cole Lonsdale scrambling into the zone. A new revitalized sense of aspects for UML. TJ Schweigert zipping away from Russell, serving the middle of the ice, dances away from a double. Funneled below the goal line, Lonsdale works the cycle below the goal line to Libor Nemec. Pressed into the wall, he and Peterson colliding to the far side of the ice. Lonsdale funneled up the half wall. Wrist shot through traffic, wired wide through the slot. Schweigert lost the puck. Maine breaks out with Holt. Zips it up ice down the left wing into the zone. Here's Peterson shielding, shooting high over the bar. UML gets a clearance to center. Libor Nemec breaking over the line right side, drops it off to Wakely, rattling the end dasher behind the net. A turnover, Bentley coughs it back up. Peterson zips it out to center ice. Bounding puck ahead of Poirier, where Sean Kilcullen, most recent UML goal scorer, zips it ahead of Delaney. He started this frenzy for UML just over 4 minutes ago of game time.
I talked about at the time how excited, how much he was giving the energy off after he scored, and that certainly looks like it was contagious among his teammates, as they have really had an influx of energy here over the last 10 minutes.
Inside 5 minutes to play in the second. If you're just now joining us, Maine carried a 3-0 lead into the 10-minute mark of the second period. UMass Lowell responded by scoring 3 goals in a 4.5-minute span. A dormant offense over these last 2 weeks coming to life against the 17th ranked team in the country. Miguel Marcus, the most recent Maine goal scorer, applies the brakes at the hash marks, plays a 2-man game with Fowler. Owen Fowler turning wrist shot, knocked away, swept by Richard off a giveaway. Chabrier zips it over the bar, and Richard covers an oscillating puck, and some shoves ensue after play was stopped.
I think we're going to get matching penalties here. Can't see who it was from Maine. It was Payne for UMass Lowell. Looks like Jurasevich from Maine. No, I'm sorry, that might be Marquez. Regardless, it'll be 4-4 after the break.
Inside 5 to play.
27 Lowell, 2-minute minor for a rough. 43 Maine, 2-minute minor embellishment.
So Marcus and Payne, the matching minors. Back in a few moments inside the red-hot Zonga Center in Lowell. Matching minors after this late shot from Sonny Sholey, but UMass Lowell has matched Maine's early tenacity with a 3-3 score in the latter 5 minutes of the second.
Yeah, you see the stick of Marquez comes up. It's Payne. That wasn't going to get called. Payne retaliates. His shove then leads to Marcus kind of helping out the call. That's called for embellishment. You get roughing on Payne, so it'll be 4-on-4 hockey here. Open ice here, a lot of extra ice here. Not sure which team this will favor. I would probably have said Maine, but the way that Lowell has played and the momentum they have, you almost feel like they could use some open ice right now.
Attacking zone draw for the Black Bears, with the matching minors issued. Off the draw, Langlois unleashes a rocket high over the top of everything. Friel feeds Jurasevich, turning, flipping it wide. Jurasevich pinching in from the point, keeps puck pressure alive. Frank Jurasevich, the Merrimack transfer, wearing the A this year for Ben Barr's Black Bears, lost the puck. And UMass Lowell regathers in the defending end. Jack Varwerk breaks into the zone, left circle, applies the brakes, funneled off the high dasher, and Brandon Holt scoops it up. The Maine captain zipping through center ice, into the zone right side, dangling, shooting, kick save, Richard dropped down to the butterfly to deny Holt of what could have been his 6th goal of his season. Just over a minute to play in 4-on-4 before back to even strength 5-on-5 hockey. Fowler strips Shipley of the puck at the blue line. Six different goal scorers tonight between the two clubs. 8 different goal scorers on the weekend if you take into account Maine's 2-0 win yesterday. Adazinski, left circle, applies the brakes, swivels up to the near half dasher. Ahern Climbing up the wall, Shipley pressed off the puck. Fowler muscles it out to center. Across the zone, Chabrier, wrist shot, rings the pipe far side. UML hit a couple posts yesterday. Chabrier almost scored his first goal since his sophomore season. The senior was close to re-giving Maine the lead.
That didn't look like there was a lot of room there, and he was able to.
Off a giveaway, centering bid, Fowler fans on a one-timer. Owen Fowler almost gave Maine the lead against his former team. Jurasevich shot knocked down by a diving Ahern. Fowler's forced to recoil and retrieve the puck.
A couple of good looks there from Maine off of UMass Lowell turnovers.
Just over 2 minutes to play in period 2. All leveled up at 3 apiece in game 3 of the regular season series between the two teams. Maine took the first 2 meetings. Komarov, wraparound, closed off. Richard makes the save with under 2 to play in period 2.
Good response there by Maine, because things had been going all the Riverhawks' way, and I think that 4-on-4 kind of settled things down a little bit for Maine, allowed them to get their feet, their skating legs under them again, as we see that shot there by Jurasevich. Right now, the Riverhawks, having just tied this game, they're trying to get back into the offensive zone. They need to take care of things defensively here first, though.
Off the tie-up, Thomas Friel below the goal line hunting the puck. Stripped on a backhand, and it's chipped out to neutral. 100 seconds left in the second period. Brandon Holt, one of 2 Maine captains. Whips it out wide. The Komarov lost the puck as he entered the zone. He re-enters offside.
This game has certainly quieted down, calmed down since those 3 Lowell goals. Certainly this building had no energy in it except for the Maine faithful, which do travel really well. Then the Lowell scores 3. Now it's kind of quieted. We have 1 minute and 33 seconds left. You almost feel like we're already in intermission the way the building is quieted. Even the team's disjointed hockey here for the last minute and a half.
Face-off win for UML. And now the neutral ice. Chabrier angles it up the half wall. Brandon Chabrier, puck into the benches, it looks like. And some more words being exchanged between Cole Lonsdale and Justin Poirier. Not the first time those two have exchanged pleasantries after play was stopped.
Yeah, they were going at it while play was going on the far wall, just slashing each other in the shins the entire time. And no surprise once the whistle blew that they would have a few more extra words. We'll see, this is a little bit of it at the end once they got into one another's face. That was Dallin Wakely as well getting in on it.
All 3 goals for UML have been controlled off face-off wins. Can they control another draw victory late in the second? Jack Farwork digs down to take it. Opposite Fowler. Fowler controls, and Chabrier rims it off the high glass and out to center ice. Nate Miskey surveys, wires it far side into the end. Ahern backhander knocked away by Chabrier as it tumbles into the mesh behind the goal.
That's a nice play there by Chabrier to not just disturb the play, but to deflect it, really push this puck into the netting and back. This looked like there was going to be some room for Ahern to get off a shot here, and a quality shot, but Brendan Chabrier gets his stick in there, and I feel like Maine has done a really good job at times this weekend, taking away the shooting lanes, taking away the passing lanes with those sticks and bodies and legs and everything you can to, oh, that's a stick that just explodes for the Riverhawks.
A look for Luke Shipley, who lost the stick. He's still without a stick. Maine counters into the zone. One-time bid to Komarov. Sniped wide, left-hand side of Richard. Oscar Komarov also almost gifted Maine to lead back. Off a takeaway. Here's Bichette. 2-on-1, 3-on-1, left side. Friel off the pipe. Second pipe of the period, and it remains tied at 3. Jurasevich, one-timer, knocked down. Couple bodies were in front of the puck. Riverhawks on the counter. A giveaway by Varwerk.
It's a dangerous place to drop pass right there at the offensive blue line.
Inside 15 to play in the second. First 30 minutes of this night started with a 3-0 Maine lead. Last 10 minutes of the second controlled by the home side. And through 40 minutes of play, we've got ourselves a new game between the 17th ranked Black Bears and the UML Riverhawks, as some more discussions are had after play is stopped.
I said it at the beginning, sometimes when you're struggling to score goals, you just need to get one and they start to flow, and that's what happened there for the Riverhawks. 3 goals in a little more than 3 minutes. Something that they did last Friday when they fell behind to Boston University on the road. They scored 3 goals at the end of the second period. That gave them the lead, and they ended up winning in overtime. This time they will go to the third period tied at 3. This has been a period that certainly got the crowd back into the game here at Tsongas Center. Another good crowd here with Maine in town.
Complete flip of the switch between the two sides. 6 different goal scorers between the two teams. 8 on the weekend. Looked like it was going to be a Maine sweep through the first period, but UMass Lowell turning on the Jets and completely flipping the complexion of the Knights, with still 20 minutes of regulation to play. 3 goal scorers for UMass Lowell in that second period. Natalie Norrie is with one of those 3, and Sean Kilcohen.
Yeah, Sean, 3 goals in just over 3 minutes for this team. Where did that explosion of offense come from?
Yeah, we just told ourselves in between period not to give up, rely on each other, focus on our game plan, getting pucks deep, forward checking hard, and the opportunities will come.
Yeah, you talk about the message between periods, but did you really see the energy shift maybe on the bench or the ice as soon as that first one went in?
Yeah, definitely a lot. I mean, we had a bunch of good shifts leading up to it, good ozone time, and then once that first one went in, it was just floodgates open from there.
Yeah, absolutely. This is a massive third period coming up. What needs to happen to make sure that your team gets the final say on home ice?
Yeah, well, still a tie game. They're a good team. We just got to make sure to stick to our way, play simple, and we'll get on top and get out of here with a win.
Sean, thank you so much.
Thank you so much.
Very fun second period of play. Maine scored the first 3. UMass Lowell got the second 3. What does period 3 have in store? Back with a second intermission from the Tsongas Center in a couple moments from Lowell. Two periods down inside the Tsongas Center in Game 2 of this weekend series between 17th ranked Maine and UMass Lowell. Casey Roll with Jim Connolly on hand. So glad you're with us. Natalie Norrie also a part of our broadcast crew this weekend. Well, if you went away, if you watched the first period, you missed a lot in the second. 3 goals in 3 minutes for UMass Lowell as we take a look at the second period stats between the two clubs.
Yeah, a big thing that stands out was that Lowell was able to get their offense going. 13 shots on goal that period to just 8 for Maine. And a big part of it's face-offs as well. And the face-off dot was in the favor of the Riverhawks, 14-9 that period. And that gets us to a 21-19 advantage for Lowell. That is a stat that they weren't even close in on Friday night. So to see them leading in face-offs, that is a big part of this. So the third period, I think now it comes down to which team's going to impose their will the most. Certainly the momentum feels like it was in Lowell's favor, but I do think that Maine did a good job in the last 5 minutes settling that period down. After that timeout from Ben Barr, his team has the chance to get back and respond here in the third. It'll be interesting to see which team can bring the game in third.
How surprised are you that none of those goals came on the power play with how UML was able to start getting more looks on the man up in the second?
Yeah, it did look. I thought the second man advantage of Lowell looked better. It was probably one of the better ones this weekend in terms of their zone time. But that still wasn't getting through it. It wasn't until Delaney was able to just be hungry and find a rebound and bury it. Get yourself into the dirty areas. How many times was Lowell just not there for the rebound opportunities? So to see that from Delaney, it certainly lit a spark in this team.
Back in a few moments with more inside the Tsongas Center. Maine and UMass Lowell in a renewed matchup here this weekend. With 20 minutes to play in regulation. UMass Lowell is making some noise in this one, scoring 3 goals in the second period, potentially making some noise at the bottom of Hockey East standings, tied for 10th entering play today as we take a look at Hockey East standings. Speaking of tied for 10th, how about those New Hampshire Wildcats challenging Boston College tonight? Some of the premier matchups here this weekend.
Yeah, you know, they gave BC all they could handle last night. UNH is a good team to see them down in 10th place, but I guess everybody that's listening knows Lowell's a very good team, and to see them down tied for 10th with UNH at this point is a little bit surprising, but that's Hockey East. When you look top to bottom, no team in this league, when you look at their overall record, has more than 14 wins. Nobody has less than 9. So you're talking about 11 teams that are all kind of crumpled together. The same thing goes in the league standings. A 6-point weekend goes a really long way in this league right now. Most of the weekends are splits, 3 and 3. If you get 4, 5, 6, you're making a difference.
We talked about Maine earlier, Jim, about them scoring goals in buckets in times this year to propel them to wins. But who else has really jumped out to you through the first half and a couple weeks of Hockey East play so far?
I'm really impressed with UConn, although I think they'd like some more consistency. Providence the last 2 weekends, even this weekend, 3rd weekend in a row, playing very good hockey, and suddenly they're now finding ways to put some wins together. Now they're sitting at the top of the standings. You know, I also like BC and BU. They have the players. It's just finding ways to win games at this point. As we'll take a look at the out-of-town scoreboard in Hockey East right now. Providence, we just mentioned, they won last night. They have a 1-0 lead on Boston University at the end of one. BC a 1-0 lead on New Hampshire. UMass and Vermont, they are scoreless. And Connecticut and Quinnipiac, that is the championship game of the Connecticut Ice Tournament. Connecticut looking to go back-to-back in that championship, win that crown for 2 in a row. But a tough Quinnipiac team. That game just underway down at Yale.
And an Armball game tonight, 3-3 between UML and Maine through 2 periods. More action coming your way next in Hockey East presentation of ESPN. Star Wars night, the balance of the forces definitely shifted in UMass Lowell's favor with a 3-goal second period.
Yeah, this one starts with the main goal, and it's just a strange bounce, fortuitous for Maine. Marquez coming on the ice after a change. The puck lands on his stick. He had to actually wait for it at center ice, and then he goes into the breakaway. And then it became the UMass Lowell offensive show. Chris Delaney, look at the excitement level he gets things going with. Then Sean Kilcullen off of the face-off gets that one under the crossbar. And then Dominic Payne, the tying goal there. We enter this third period tied at 3. Both teams really needing and wanting this victory. Maine trying to move their way up the standings, and Lowell, they are just trying to find their way back to the win column.
2 very different complexion periods, with more on the main tenor through that second period intermission. Natalie Norrie's got more ringside.
Thank you, Casey. Now, John O'Connor, the assistant coach with Maine, just spoke with us briefly, and he said, of course, you know, giving up 3 goals was not ideal, but you could talk about the X's and the O's here in the third period, but what it really comes down to is the maturity of this group, how we handle adversity. He said we're really relying on our leadership group here, the seniors. We have a young group here, but when you get that leadership going, they can bring the others into the fight. So looking for that hunger from the freshmen as well. He said as far as the game goes, that we really need to get on the forecheck. That can get us going, get pressure in their zone. It seems like the rest of our game falls into place when we're able to make that happen. So look for a mature game here from the Maine Black Bears as they try to put this one away on the road, Casey.
All right, thanks, Natalie. It looked to be all Maine in the first period. Game 3 of the season series. Can Maine come away with a sweep, or can UMass Lowell secure a split this week in front of the home fans?
These are two similar teams in terms of what they're trying to do, so it feels like this will be a period of which team imposes their will.
Along the right wing, Oster Komarov sweeps it in behind Samuel Richard. Swung out to center ice. UMass Lowell on the counter. Dylan Bentley beats Holt to the puck to negate icing. Bentley shielding the puck away from Holt. Two upperclassmen who have been a big part of their programs recently. Ahern centers left side underneath of Delaney's stick. That pass was a couple inches away from giving Delaney a prime chance to give UMass Lowell its first lead of the weekend. Ahern surveys, shoots, knuckling puck kicked away by Boya in the butterfly.
Not sure he saw that puck until the last second when it was right on top of him.
Albin Boya remains in net for Maine after surrendering those 3 goals in the second. Had a shutout yesterday. 4th shutout of his season. Completely different complexion tonight for the second-team All-American. Lonsdale turning, centering pass, loose on goal, whacking away at it. It's Nemec, and from a seated position, Boya ices play.
He ended up with Maine defender Frank Jurasevich on his knees in the crease area. Always worry about a player putting his hand on the puck, and that would result in a penalty shot, but referee's right there on top of it. Well, look at this from the overhead. You had 2 Riverhawks trying to get that puck. Nemec was one of them there. You also had Dallin Wakely, Max Scott in there as well from Maine, trying to hold the 2 off. Good start here for the Riverhawks, though. That's a good opportunity in the first 80 seconds here of this 3rd period.
Those were not looks that they had in the 1st period.
No.
You look at the numbers. 3 or more goals scored. There's a 4th goal for UMass Lowell, and there's their first lead of the weekend. 4 unanswered for the home side, and this belongs to Lee Parks.
It's another goal right off the face-off. We talked about how important face-offs were going to be in this game. Boy, have they turned this game around for the Riverhawks. Another 1 draw in the offensive zone. Great job with Parks, sticking with that play the whole way. Gets that loose puck, fires it over the glove side. And for the first time this weekend, as unlikely as it seemed when they were down 3-0 at the halfway point of this game, Lowell has a lead.
Four straight goals scored by the Riverhawks. After Maine jumped out to a 3-0 lead, it's been all the home team, completely changing the tenor of the night. Chris Delaney pitchforks it out to center. And Lucas Peterson tracks down the puck. Dylan Bentley in hot pursuit. Peterson wheels behind the net. Looking ahead at the on-rushing Black Bears. 2 minutes into the 3rd period in game 2 of the weekend. UMass Lowell up a goal. Odd man rush possibly developing. Bentley. Line pass right side. Wrist shot from Shipley, knuckling wide. Charlie Russell counters only to the red line, where it's backhanded by Shipley to the right of Boya. Albin Boya in his career against UMass Lowell entering play today, Jim, had surrendered 5 goals. He's given up 4 goals in just over 12 minutes of game time.
It's crazy when you really look at how this game has just turned on its head. The Lowell offense was missing, non-existent, and then Chris Delaney gets that shot over Boya's blocker on a rebound opportunity, and then you saw it when he celebrated that goal. It's like you knew that there was some sort of a spark that was happening, and it has really, that spark has turned into a pure-on explosion for these Riverhawks.
Langlois wraps it in behind the net. A near giveaway. Nate Miskey surveys up ice, badgered by Friel. Miskey in behind Boya. UMass Lowell has lost 5 straight games at home against Hockey East opponents. Can they end that streak tonight? Up a goal with over 16.5 minutes to play. Thomas Pichette lost the puck. It's rifled out to the red line. Here's Parks, the most recent goal scorer for UML. Backhands to Nemec. Libor Nemec centers. Parks fans in a one-timer. That would have been his second of the night.
Almost the same spot he scored from the first time.
Vreel wires it cross ice to nobody. Josh Morey intercepts. Sully Sholey, the game's first goal scorer, stripped to the puck. He muscles it on goal. An easy stop for Richard. Parks driving left side, ambushed at the blue line. Maine counters. Fowler whips it outright. Sholey deals. Pichette to the trailer. Holt one-timer knocked down. Rattling in the crease. Here's Jurasevich, right circle. Wrist shot flexed away by a sitting Buttazzoni. Diego Buttazzoni making his presence felt. Varwick scoops it up. Jack Varwick centers for Buttazzoni. Taken away. Sholey knocked it down, and then it's covered by Boya.
Couple of hard hits after the play, too. Sholey took one of the Riverhawks into the boards. No call coming. You just feel like the neutral zone has been a lot more friendly to these Riverhawks in the last 12, 15 minutes of this game. They've been able to get up ice a little bit more successfully. Certainly all of their goals have come off face-offs, but the fact that you even have those offensive draws really does tell the story that Lowell has been getting through the neutral zone a little bit cleaner than they were early in this game and certainly last night.
Shots are an even 18 apiece at this juncture in the night. Bentley and Scott dig down for the faceoff, and Max Scott, the former Brown captain, wins the draw. Charlie Russell lost the puck at the blue line. Jurasevich smacks it off the wall. Delaney intercepts. 7 different goal scorers tonight between the two teams, 9 on the weekend. It was all Maine yesterday and a shutout victory over UMass Lowell. Tonight is a completely different look. Jay Ahern in the slot. Flips it from circle to circle. Nobody there except for Scott. A couple former captains with their previous schools. The aforementioned Max Scott at Brown and Jay Ahern at Niagara. Off a giveaway. Dallin Wakely drops it off to the trailer. Bentley, his shot flexed away by Boya. Bentley rifled off the far dasher ahead of Schweigert. Maine likes a line change.
Maine's defense suddenly is making uncharacteristic mistakes that they hadn't made all weekend. The giveaways and turnovers in danger zones over the last few minutes they've been noticeable.
Black Bears on the regroup. Here's Brock James. He hits the pipe. Third pipe of the night by the Black Bears. And UMass Lowell's lead remains 4-3. 6 minutes gone by in the third. Yesterday was the Riverhawks hitting pipes. Today it's the Black Bears hitting metal. Brock James scored his first career goal against UML last night. Can he get an equalizer this evening? Pinching in, here's Yuzero. The weak Yuzero dealing right side one-timer from Chabrier. Flexed away in the slot, never got on goal, and it tumbles out to center ice.
That's a big clear. Kilcullen was without a stick right there. Couldn't get to the puck himself, but his defensive partner on that one, Luke Shipley, able to clear that one out.
Peterson. Whipped in behind the goal. Brandon Holt chasing after it. Josh Morey is there to scoop it up. Tumbling puck by Peterson. Swings it in behind the goal. A 1-2-2 Maine forecheck. Led by Komarov. Maine's got it with Holt pinching in from the blue line. Brandon Holt spins away from Parks. Wired to the point. Pichette's shot knocked down. Thomas Pichette scored the second Maine goal back in the first. Komarov jabs it up the wall. Holt takes a spill to the ice. We play on with it muscled out to center. And that puck is played by, it looks like a high stick. Some more shoves after play was stopped. What's new tonight?
We're going to get a penalty here, too. Maine is going to go here.
Maine, number 2, 2-minute minor, roughing.
That's a roughing call on Lucas Peterson. And a much maligned UMass Lowell power play has a chance to come through in a hero spot in a 1-goal lead. Just over 12 and a half to play. 1-goal advantage for UML on Maine. UMass Lowell's offense is clicking. Can the power play join that group with a 4th power play chance of the night upcoming?
And that Lucas Peterson there, an unnecessary penalty, throws a punch after the whistle right as the officials are staring at him. Play is over. He's heading to the box, roughing the call. So this UMass Lowell power play has not been successful this weekend, but what a situation they're in now. If they were to score here, what a momentum. I mean, this has been all Lowell's momentum, but what a exclamation point of momentum it could become.
0 for 9 this weekend, 1 for 16 over the last 2 weeks. Maine breaks out shorthanded. Friel centers right side. Fowler fans in a one-timer on a puck that jumped his stick blade. Nearly the 6th shorthanded goal that Maine was potentially looking at. Bentley, wrist shot kicked away by Albin Boya, the 2nd-team All-American from a year ago. Chris Delaney, short side, roofs it high over the bar. Jabbed by Friel into the seat, stopping play. Attacking zone faceoff for UMass Lowell with 1:29 left on its 4th power play chance of the night.
Chris Delaney walked out of the corner there, and he only had about a puck's width to put it, but he tried to aim for it. You could see it to the glove side of Boya. He was trying to find that little hole, unable to do so. And that's, well, look at that number right there. And 4 goals is a big number for this Lowell team when they're playing nationally ranked opponents. You score 4, you tend to win, as we see it there. 4 wins against nationally ranked opponents, averaging 4 goals a game.
Only thing that doesn't look up to par is the power play numbers in those wins against ranked teams. Can they get a power play marker for the first time this weekend against Maine's penalty kill? Frank Jurasevich hunting after the puck behind the goal, swings it over the high glass, bringing another stoppage of play.
This has become a disjointed power play for the Riverhawks. That plays into Maine's advantage as they're slowly watching this one tick away.
What you liked about Alfie Michaud's PK tonight?
You know, I thought that early in the game, their timing was very good. They knew when to go. And the last power play for Lowell, they didn't have that same timing. A lot of it was the Riverhawks' ability just to kind of play keep away. But his penalty kills ability to read plays and react really strong, and that's why when they are going, this penalty kill can be very good.
Inside 50 seconds left on UMass Lowell's 4th power play chance of the night. Diego Bettazzoni cranks it up the wall. Shipley centers, intercepted by Fowler, who lost the puck at the red line. 9 minutes gone by in the 3rd. 4 straight goals scored by the Riverhawks. Schweiger dials it in behind the net. Tracked down by Brandon Chabrier, who guns it out to the neutral zone.
Not a lot of urgency here by the Riverhawks trying to get up ice.
Delaney motors into the zone. A goal scored tonight for UML. Pressed off the puck. Holt behind the net. Shovels it up the wall. We're back to 5-on-5. Turning shot. Bentley score! UMass Lowell has put up a 5 spot. 5 unanswered goals. And this one belongs to Dylan Bentley, the Hobie Baker nominee. Puts his 11th of the season on the board.
This won't go down as a power play goal, but Dylan Bentley uses this defender as a screen, gets that one for about 15, 20 feet out, able to go again over the glove side of Boya, and he has looked a little bit shaky up top tonight, and that is where the Riverhawks have consistently tried to put the puck, and they have scored 4 of their 5 goals up high on Boya.
5 straight UMass Lowell goals. They've got a 2-goal lead on Maine in the waning moments. Off a giveaway, as goal scored by Maine, and this one to Will Giroux. Don't go anywhere. It's back to a 1-goal mark.
And why would anything be easy for the Riverhawks? As Will Giroux, Johnny on the spot, hops on that puck. This puck just kept in along the half wall, centered out toward Giroux. As you see that turnover right there, unable to control it. Giroux goes low into the blocker side on Richard, and we're back into a 1-goal game. Just when it feels like the Riverhawks might finally be in a position to pull away, Maine answers right back.
2 goals inside 20 seconds. And how big does that Bentley goal loom now with Maine answering back? Jurasevich lets it fly wide, glove side on Richard. Flung out toward the neutral zone off of Lonsdale's stick. Komarov regathers. Thomas Friel, right circle, chested down by Richard. Komarov works the low cycle down below the goal. Friel bracketed by a double. The loose puck tumbles to Komarov. Jurasevich, wrist shot through traffic. Knuckling wide in the slot through a maze of skates. Maine's forecheck keeps play alive behind the net. Komarov dealing, centering. Friel flipped it off the apron of the net. Thomas Friel, one of the co-captains for Maine. 2-man game with Miguel Marcus below the circle. Eyed by Wakely. Backhanded to the center point. Langlois feeds up high. Wrist shot. Fowler, save made. Richard tumbles down to the ice. Peterson surveys that UML look. Peterson gets a man in his pants. Fowler lost the puck. He had an open net but couldn't capitalize. Marcus cranking away at the goal. Lost the puck on the backhand, and the Riverhawks finally clear out to center.
Unable to get it deep though, Maine on the counter.
Peterson, right circle, wrist shot. Scholey follow, and Richard there to cover it up. Sully Scholey, the goal owner of the first lamplighter of the night, almost tied it up at 5. But Samuel Richard covers to maintain Maine's 1-goal lead. It's a shooting gallery inside the Tsongas Center. 9 combined goals. First belonged to Dylan Bentley, in the second, less than 20 seconds later, owned by Will Giroux. Don't go anywhere. .8:26 to play in the third. UMass Lowell 5, Maine 4. You can't have more of a pendulum swing than the night that this one's played out to be. In the series finale between these two clubs, both in different directions in Hockey East standings. UMass Lowell is making some noise at the bottom of Hockey East against the 17th ranked Maine Black Bears.
You know, I said it last night, and I'll say it again. A Hockey East, a single elimination playoff. You end up facing a team like Lowell in the first round, and you're going to be a 6 seed if you face an 11 team. But no matter who, if you're going to face a team toward the bottom and you're near the top of this league, this is not a team you want to face. They have some offensive firepower. They have 2 goaltenders. When they play well, they are a very tough team to play against.
UMass Lowell +1 in the face-off circle after being demolished last night, 35-19 between the dots. The tie-up by Max Scott. A giveaway. Russell, wrist shot from the circle. Kicked away by Richard. Maine scored the first 3 goals of the night. UMass Lowell responded with the next 5. Here's Russell, close angle, save Richard. Makes his second save in 10 seconds on Charlie Russell to keep Maine's deficit at 1.
These shots and saves are now starting to add up for Maine. 30 shots on the game. A lot of pressure here. Since that fourth goal to pull Maine back within one, it has been all Black Bears in the offensive zone, and they have peppered Sam Richard with shots.
Draw one by Varwerk, digging down in the circle. Brandon Holt pinching in from the blue line. Two-a-side tie-up right to the left of the UML bench. Controlled by Varwerk. Swings it off the boards, takes a massive hit behind the play. 50-50 battle handled by Holtz. Angling behind his goaltender Alvin Boya. Up the wall, Holtz, the captain, surveys at the circle. Wrist shot, save made. Richard falls to the seat of his breezers to stop play as some more shoves after play was halted ensue.
You can tell these two teams have played two very competitive games over the last two nights as the intensity is ratcheting up in a one-goal game here. Holt with a good shot there. That one actually tricked Richard a little bit, got it under his arm, right armpit, able to cover up, and we get a little bit more. It seems every whistle now we're getting a little bit of pushing, a little bit of shoving. Both teams need to make sure that they don't do anything irresponsible, though.
Brock James off the tie-up. Close angle shot kicked away off the post as well. Nick Peluso ranging after the puck. It's skied out to the neutral zone, and it looks like that glanced off the top of the benches. So play stopped. Draw back into the Maine attacking end.
That's a good break for the Black Bears because that puck came all the way out of the zone. It's two zones away when it goes out of play, but the draw will come all the way back to the offensive zone for the Black Bears.
Brock James to take the face-off against Dylan Bentley. Game-winning goal for James last night. Wins the face-off. In the slot, Yuzero scores! That hits the post. This time it's a goal. We're tied at 5.
Another first goal for the Black Bears. First collegiate goal for Loic Yuzero. This one off a face-off. Talked about Lowell and their face-off goals. This one through a lot of traffic, took a couple of redirects and one off the post at the end, but in the net. And we said it when we were off the air, we said, oh boy, this just feels like an overtime game. 5-5, 10 goals in this one after just 2 goals and almost no offense last night.
The first time these two teams played in Portland, it was a shootout, but nothing to this extent with 10 combined goals. An overtime win for Maine that night up north. Could we potentially have an overtime game tonight in Lowell? Chris Delaney up the half wall, backhands through center ice, connects with Bentley, posting up, deals. Ahern applies the break, shoots off a stick into the mesh, bringing us to a stoppage with under 7 minutes to play inside the Tsongas Center.
Right now, if you're Maine, you know you've tied this game. You feel like you have momentum. Now it's about, it's almost when Lowell scored the goal to go up 5-3. They knew they had the momentum, but the next shift wasn't a good one. And since then, Maine has had the good shifts. Now Lowell, if Lowell has a good response, Maine needs to find a way to get their best shifts out of them. It's one of those things when you're trailing, you're chasing. When you finally catch, sometimes it's hard to go back and play the defense that you were playing to make sure that you stayed in close game. Interesting setup here for the Riverhawks on this draw.
2 wingers in the slot off the faceoff win. Jay Ahern backhanded up the wall. Bentley pressed into the boards by Holt behind the nets. Dylan Bentley, the most recent UML goal scorer. Swiveling away from traffic, backhands to Schweigert, the defenseman activating to the goal line. TJ Schweigert. Tumbling puck near side. Komarov out of his reach. Thomas Friel flubs on the clearance. Holtz Wheels behind the net, angled off the wall. Friel at the red line, dials it in behind Richard. Over 6 minutes to play inside the Tsongas Center. All that separates us from potentially a regulation decision or overtime. As of right now, it looks like we would play a 5-minute OT. Josh Morey shoveled up the wall. Charlie Russell in pursuit. Jeremy Langlois at the point. Wrist shot knuckling wide, and it's gloved by Richard. Skating out of the crease. 5:53 to play. We're tied at 5 between UML and Maine. Back in a few moments on a cold evening in Lowell. Man, you could really divide this game into thirds. The first period was all Maine, just like yesterday, scoring 2 early goals. Thomas Pichette, that goal there made it look like Maine was going to rinse and repeat after yesterday. They got to have felt really confident after Miguel Marcus made it 3-0, but not so fast. The UMass Lowell Riverhawks scored not 1, not 2, not 3. How about 4 and 5 consecutive goals? This goal by Lee Parks gave UML a 1-goal lead, and then Dylan Bentley, the Hobie Baker Award nominee, made it a 2-goal lead. But the Black Bears not being denied back-to-back goals. It truly is a shooting gallery. We're in the far northeast, but this feels like the Wild West in the late first month of 2026.
It does. It absolutely does. 107 combined shot attempts in this game. 56 of those have hit net. 10 of them have beaten the goaltenders.
This is a college hockey game, by the way. This is not Tier B juniors with a high volume of shots. This is a college game, and yes, this is arguably the best game of the second half in Hockey East in terms of sheer volume of offense.
Officials are talking here. It's just this is just a standard neutral zone face-off.
Jack Varwerk and Brock James. Varwerk wins off the tie-up. Albin Boya and Samuel Richard, the 2 goaltenders. Got to be the loneliest place in the world right now in a game like tonight with 10 combined goals. Behind the goal, Morey centers, looking for Buttazzoni, knocked down. Here's Will Giroir, goal scorer for Maine. Black Bears enter offside.
Right now, as you think about 5.5 minutes left, it feels like there's an eternity still left. I'm sure on the ice it doesn't feel that way, but you know, this has been a slow-moving third period. The Riverhawks and the Black Bears each with 2 goals here in this period.
Miskey. Jammed out to the blue line. Uzero, the most recent goal scorer, lost it loose in the slot. And Nemec whacking away at the puck. Had an open goal, but he couldn't capitalize. Libor Nemec from the seat of his pants lost the puck. Black Bears counter. Scholey dives to the ice, and the puck is held by Richard. Libor Nemec had a chance to re-give UMass Lowell the lead, but Albin Boya had other ideas.
Yeah, I think it was Brandon Charbrier who might have been in front of the net. He was doing a lot from just right there. Look at number 15. He gets taken down there. Now he's just in almost a no man's land. He's just trying to make sure the puck doesn't get back to a Lowell stick. That was what made that play most dangerous. And at the other end, Richard very happy to take the face-off, settle things down here a little.
Man, I hate to even ask, does next goal that score wins
I'm
inside 5 minutes?
I'm not saying that. No way am I saying that. There's way too much time left in this game.
TJ Schweigert off the draw, drills it off the boards. It tumbles to center where Ahern bats it in behind Boya. We've got less than 5 minutes to play in regulation. Do we have another 5-minute stanza upcoming after the third? Thomas Pichette off the 50-50 battle for positioning. Muscles it in behind Richard. Morey lost an edge. Pichette hunting after the puck, deals to Holt into the high slot. Brandon Holt shoots through a screen, knuckling wide. where Oscar Komarov inhales the puck. Tracking it down amidst a bevy of blue sweaters. Angled off the wall, Dylan Bentley intercepts. The Hobie Baker Award nominee, Dylan Bentley, backhands behind Boya with the activating defenseman TJ Schweigert racing after it. Lee Parks, he scored UML's 4th goal of the night. 10 different goal scorers this evening. Might be as impressive as 10 goals altogether, 10 different goal scorers. Diego Bonazzoni, can he be the 11th different goal scorer tonight? Parks below the goal line, centering pass off the apron of the net, tumbles out to center between both defensemen, Miskey and Wakely. Bonazzoni swings it in the Parks. Wrist shot gloved. Boya there to make the stop.
And he'll hold on. You see in both goaltenders, they'll take as many face-offs as they can right now. They'd much prefer a slower paced game right now. They don't need to have the up and down action coming at them. Face-offs right now slightly in favor of the Riverhawks, 31-28, after being dominated in the dot last night. Became a really big part of this game. When Lowell started winning face-offs, they started scoring goals off face-offs.
Miskey off the tie-up, wrist shot kicked away. Boya makes the save. And the puck into the high glass and the netting to stop play.
And it's another face-off won by the Riverhawks that creates offense. That's 2 good shots that they get there, all because they won another draw.
Diego Bonazzoni had a chance. Exploded last year in the Western Hockey League with 38 goals. He's had a couple looks tonight, as had Libor Nemec, who drops down in the circle. Off the tie-up, Fowler controls. Sully Sholey angles it off the board's right side. No icing on the washout. Fowler able to win the race to the dot. 3 minutes to play in period 3 with 10 combined goals between Maine and UMass Lowell. Dominic Payne, one of those UML goal scorers tonight. Jurasevich and Fowler entangled by a double team. 2 aside tie-up for positioning comes to Sholey. Fans on a centering bid. Knocked around. Lonsdale comes away with the puck. Feeds Nemec. Libor Nemec centers for Wakely. Kicked around and gloved. Boya makes sure nothing further happens.
You see Lowell just trying to filter a puck toward the net. The good things can happen. You had Wakely heading toward the net there, a puck bobbling the entire way, and Boya is able to get this one in his glove, slow things down and take the whistle. But those are the dangerous pucks. You know, you have bodies heading toward the net. One stick blade gets at it to flex and it beats the goaltender, and things are very different. That's why you'll take the face-off as often as you can, settle things down.
Bentley and Komarov drop down. Bentley wins it. Wakely feeds up high. Schweigert one-timer, chested down and stopped. Boya makes the save through a screen.
Through a massive screen. That must have gone through 2 or 3 bodies to get to Boya. I was surprised that it got all the way through to him. And then his ability to see this puck the whole way, get a glove right on it. 2 bodies in front of him right there. Jay Ahern, one of them. It looks like it was Dylan Bentley, the other 6'2" frame in front. 6'4" frame, I'm sorry.
Arguably the save of the weekend between these two teams. Gloving a howitzer. Holt off the face-off win. Jabs it through center ice. Just over 2 minutes left in regulation here inside the Tsongas Center. Can the Riverhawks pull off an upset against the 17th ranked team in the land? Thomas Friel whips it in behind Samuel Richard. Riverhawks on the counter down the far side. Dylan Bentley into the zone. Bentley right circle, holding at the dot. Wrist shot, close angle. Flexed away by Boya. Schweigert spins away from a check, only to lose the puck to Pichette. Frank Jurasevich sets up behind the main goal with 90 seconds to play. Langlois weaving through traffic, dials it in behind Richard. Josh Morey is there. Flipped off the high glass through center ice. Tumbling puck, Jurasevich flips it into a UML maze of blue sweaters, only for the Riverhawks to lose positioning. Miguel Marcus at the blue line. Muscled in behind Richard. Two-a-side tie-up far boards for positioning. Inside a minute to play here at the TC. Lee Parks funnels it down the length of the ice. That is an icing with under 49 seconds to play in regulation.
One thing to remember here, Maine has used their timeout already, so Lowell has the only timeout remaining, and it does look like Norm Bazin is going to call it here after the icing. So neither team will have a timeout for the rest of regulation. 48.8 seconds remaining here. Now it's about who do you put out for your face-off players here. The leading face-off men for each team. It's Bentley with the most wins for Lowell. Scott has the most wins. Best face-off percentage for Maine is James, Brock James. I'm probably guessing you're probably going to see Max Scott on this draw.
How much of determining who you want for the face-off this late in the game comes from where the puck is at each dot? Because depending on where you ask for coaches, sometimes they like a lefty centerman at a certain dot or a righty centerman on a certain dot. How much of that do you think goes into this decision?
I mean, a lot for Maine, especially on icing. They got to choose the dot, so whoever they knew was going to take this face-off, it looks like they're going to send out Kalmaroff to take this one. He chooses the right dot. That's where he prefers and feels more comfortable, the right-hand shot. He will be against Bentley.
Couple right-handed centermen. Kalmaroff has lost 8 in the dot. He wins it there. Holt, wrist shot through traffic. Wired wide of Richard. Josh Morey behind the goal with under 40 seconds to play. Zips it down the length of the ice. No icing. It's washed out with Ahern racing with Holt for the puck. Ahern out to the point. Bentley lost the puck. It skips out to center. Here's Komarov. Oscar Komarov angling on goal. Taken down to the ice. We play on 5-on-5. Inside 20 seconds to play.
Good job by Nate Miskey there, getting back in position.
A giveaway. Here's a shot. Pichette, glove save. Samuel Richard allowed the goal to Pichette in the first. He denies him in the third.
That puck got into the slot area fast. In a real great release here too by Pichette. You've got a sliding defender. I mean, that was a tough save right there for Richard to make. And then the ability, once he bobbles that puck, to dive out, get his glove onto it, paddle of his stick, pulls it underneath. The catching glove of Richard, 30 saves for the night.
Fowler and Varwerk to take the face-off. Varwerk controls, flipped out to center ice, bounding puck, one last save, Richard. 3 periods are not enough. 10 goals is not enough to determine a winner tonight. We're playing into overtime inside the Tsongas Center. Second time these two teams are playing OT. First meeting in Portland went into overtime. The last meeting of the season in Lowell goes to OT. 5-minute stretch comes your way next on ESPN+. 10 goals isn't enough to determine a winner in regulation between Maine and UMass Lowell. These two teams have played once already in overtime this year, with Maine coming away victorious in Portland a month ago. They're unblemished in OT. Maine is looking for a second overtime victory with a win tonight and looking for its first win against Maine this season. So glad you're with us. If you're just now tuning in, KC Roll with Jim Connolly on hand from the Tsongas Center. Natalie Norrie also with us here in Massachusetts. 3-on-3 overtime. I was joking with you, Jim, earlier. Do you feel like the next goal wins the game with 5 minutes to play in regulation? Well, we know now that
it finally
the next goal scored is going to win. But the question is, where do you feel like the momentum has shifted towards as we play OT?
Well, it's interesting because I felt like for the last 5 minutes, I didn't think either team was really taking a lot of chances and a lot of risks. Did that result in no chances? No, because pucks still bounce, and you're going to see fatigue will be the biggest factor, I think, between these teams. Which team can avoid that here in the overtime? Because you likely do see somebody at the end of a long weekend of hockey maybe get tired and make the mistake out there.
Owen Fowler digs down for the faceoff, and he wins it. He springs Brandon Holt, the captain, deals left circle. Schuley wrist shot.
Off the
glanced
post.
off the post.
Oh.
The fourth post that Maine has hit tonight.
Right off the face-off, Maine gets a 2-on-1. Right off the draw. Watch this. Simple play, just Holt and Schuley just walk in. You see two players for Lowell go forward, the puck goes the other way, and you're in a situation where Swigert is the only player back, and Sully Schuley rings that one off the metal.
Fowler wins another faceoff. The former UMass Lowell Riverhawks scored in overtime to defeat his old school a month ago when these two teams played in Maine. Here is Fowler, the second-year Black Bear, snaking into the high slot. Eyed by TJ Schweigert, he recoils to neutral ice. Maine has controlled the puck for all 30 seconds of this overtime. Sully Schuley, the game's first goal scorer, left circle, snaps a shot, knocked down. Richard prods it to the far boards. 10 different goal scorers tonight. Will we see our first multi-goal scorer of the game? TJ Schweigert angling in on goal, holding on a backhand, lost the puck. Regathers behind the net, surveys, deals to Varwerk. Backpedals out to neutral ice to reset.
Get a few new skaters on here, a couple new skaters for the Riverhawks.
Varwerk on the reset, lost the puck upon entry. David Adazinski below the goal line, hunting after it. Schuley first to it. Backhands up through center. Here's Fowler. And Maine answers with the same tactic of getting a partial change. Frank Jurasevich, the Merrimack transfer, leaves it for Russell. Charlie Russell meandering into the zone. Atop the circle, deals cross ice. Will Giroir, he has a goal for Maine tonight. Feeds Russell, who scored yesterday below the goal line. Close angle shot, kick save, rebound. Jurasevich knocked away. Friel close angle, lost it in the dots. And UMass Lowell excavates the puck out of a bevy of traffic to neutral ice. Ellen Wakely slicing wide on Jurasevich. Deals it to the near point. Underneath Miskey, and both teams will reset. We're 2 minutes into overtime. Game 2 this weekend. Maine won 2-zip yesterday. Completely different complexion tonight. Chris Delaney, he's one of 5 UMass Lowell goal scorers this evening. Does not have a game-winning goal. Can he change that tonight? Bentley feeds the surging Miskey. And offside is called. We'll have a stoppage in play with a draw coming to neutral.
Couple of chances by the Black Bears. Good opportunity there. Tight angle shot there by Russell, but that creates the problems and the chaos in front. Once you have that loose puck there, you have a couple of Black Bears trying to find the loose puck and jam it in. Riverhawks just trying to get it out, and that's what they were able to do there.
Varwerk beating Fowler to the spot. Varwerk and Schweigert work in tandem. Varwerk off a stretch pass, 2-on-1 for UML. Varwerk shoots, glove save, Boya. The All-American makes his biggest stop of the night to keep this going in OT.
Good acceleration there by Varwerk. Used the neutral zone in the space he had to get some speed coming through. And then as soon as he gets any space on the defender there, he knew he was shooting. There was never a thought to pass that puck. He was trying to go low on the glove side there on Boya. Boya makes the save.
25 saves for Alvin Boya, same amount of saves he made last night in his 4th shutout win of his season against these Riverhawks. Dallin Wakely digs down for the faceoff. Up against Max Scott. And Scott, Maine's faceoff leader, toss from the dots. Brandon Holt, he has 2 goals in his career against UMass Lowell. Active leader in points against UMO. Feeds Russell, breaking into the zone. Below the goal line, cutting wide on Aher. Deals into the slot, one-timer score! Max Scott calls game! And the Black Bears with a regular season sweep of the Riverhawks. 8 consecutive wins in the series.
This will go down as a character win for Maine. They had a lead, they lost the lead. They went to sleep for about a 15, 18-minute stretch in this game, but they found a way to tie this, get it to overtime. And then this game winner here, using the space. You see all the space created right there from Max Scott. A great feed from Charlie Russell, and then Max Scott low and hard to the glove side. Beats Richard. And the Black Bear faithful who made the trip down from Maine, a lot of them here certainly got on their feet to celebrate that game winner, the 2nd overtime game winner of the year for the Black Bears against these Riverhawks, and a big season series sweep for Maine.
That goal for Scott is his 4th of the season. That snaps a career-long 15-game goal drought for Scott amidst his junior year, playing college hockey his 1st year in Orono. And these 2 teams who have had long rivalries in their pasts has completely been dominated by the Black Bears. 8 consecutive wins against the Riverhawks when these 2 teams have met over the last 3 years. Max Scott scored the game winner. He's standing by with Natalie Norrie ringside.
All right. Max, I'm sure you're taking this one in as it goes here, but character win for your team. You know, just your initial thoughts after this one for your team to be able to come back and get the win here.
Yeah, I think that just shows a lot of resiliency within our team. You know, we were up 3 and we, went into the locker room and we knew what we needed to do and we came out and delivered. So.
Yeah, I feel like that overtime, just from the face-off, it seemed like you 3 had something good going there. How were you able to make that read and find the back of the net?
I think it's just all about finding the soft ice. 5-on-5, 3-on-3. Charlie Russell made a great play, and I was happy to bury on it.
Absolutely. What do you think the team will take away from this one as you go forward and look for another weekend sweep?
Just kind of shows, like, whatever the score is, we're always going to fight back, and we can make some huge adjustments here going to the end of the year.
Awesome. Well, congratulations.
Thank you very much.
Thanks, Natalie. What a thriller in overtime. This series started with an overtime game in Portland. It ends with an overtime game in Lowell. In both cases, Maine comes out victorious. Final score in this one, 6-5 Maine in overtime. They secure the 2nd point in OT. UML ends with a point for an overtime loss. For Tim Connolly, Natalie Norrie, and our entire ESPN crew in Lowell, I'm Casey Roll saying so long from the Tsongas Center. Maine takes down UML 6-5.